Hello and welcome along to HTML Basics with your host Robert Smith. In this video we're going to look at something called lists. Now lists are very handy when writing HTML. They're great ways of organizing your code. For example, we make lists. A list could be a list of oranges or a list of instructions or whatever. And there's a couple of sorts of lists we're going to look at. The first one we're going to look at is called an unordered list. So to start that, we'll start a new page, Apple N like this. Our new HTML page is what we want, and we want to be HTML5 and create. Okay, now when we're working with code, there's a lot of code we're not working on at that current moment. For example, this head part here, we don't do much work there. That's usually handled by Dreamweaver. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of that and just close it up. So we can't see it. It's still there. As you can see, if I click on that little thing, it's still there, but we don't have to look at it, which is good. And it gives us more room here to write our code. Okay, the first sort of list we're going to write is called an unordered list. In other words, things don't have to go in any specific order. So I'm going to start like any tag. I'm going to shift angle bracket. Then I'm going to press the letter U to find the unordered list, or UL is what you want, like that. Then I'm going to close that. And because this is like a container that's going to contain our list, I'm going to close that tag straight away by pressing shift angle bracket and then / to close it. And we're going to put our list items, is what they call them, inside this unordered list. And this is how we organize it. So if I put my cursor here and I again open up my angle bracket like that, and I press the letter L, we're looking for something called an LI, or a list item, like that. Just double click on that, and then I'll close that. Now here's where we put our actual content. So home, there like that. And let's close that list item. That's all we want to say there. Again, angle bracket / Let's put another one in. Let's say this is a menu, like that. Open your angle bracket, then LI, like that. Close it. And this might be a page called images. And then we'll close our angle bracket / Let's have a look at that. That's what it looks like. That's what very underwhelming, isn't it? It's a list like this, and we can tell it's an unordered list because it has these little black bullet points here, like that. More of that later. So let's complete our list. A quick way of doing it is simply to select that in the code, Command C, press return, and Apple V to paste it. Again, Apple V again, Apple V again, and this second one might be, just change this copy in here, that might be a contact, like that. And this one here might be about, and this one here might be something like registration. Doesn't matter what it is, because it's an unordered list. It doesn't really matter what order things go in. Let's get that back up here so we can see it. And let's get rid of this space here just to neaten it up. It doesn't really matter, but just to make it look a little bit neater. Let's refresh that. So there it is, our unstyled browser default list. Now we do lots of styling on lists, but that's not the purpose of this video. I'm just showing you how to write them. Okay, that's one sort of list. It's called an unordered list. Let's look at another sort of list. This one's called an ordered list, which is much the same thing. It just goes in a specific order. For example, again, I'll do the same thing. I'll start it. But instead of having an UL, or an unordered list, we're going to have an OL, or an ordered list, like this. And I'll close that with a shift right bracket, angle bracket. And again, I'm going to close it straight away because it's like a container, this ordered list, much the same as the UL tag is. The OL tag does the same thing. And I'll / that. Then I'll put a bit of space in here, and let's put some list items now. UL and OL, they both contain LIs, or list items if you like. So if I open up like that with my shift left angle bracket, press LI, like that. And this time we might do a process. For example, how to start a website. The first thing you would do is set up folders, like that. And then you can close that with a angle bracket like that, and a / I might just drag that open a little bit so we can see it a bit better. If it lets me. That's better. Okay, and then it's return another, again, li, list item. Close that with a right angle bracket. This time we might set up folders. Then we could manage sites, and we'll close that item down, / like that, and then we'll do the same thing. Let's refresh that and see what that looks like. You see the difference. The simple difference is it's just a list of things, but this time it's in order 1, 2, etc. Because it's an ordered list, if I copy that, I can go like this and Apple V paste it in. The next thing might be, for example, manage sites. Then we could create HTML and CSS file like that, and then I'll return and paste it in again, and then we can connect HTML to CSS file. We might connect it with 2 ends actually. It might look a bit better. I don't know if that looks right, but anyway, it doesn't matter for the sake of this exercise. And the last thing we might do, Apple V, we might add content. And one more thing we might do, we might Apple V, we might style content. And there's a specific list in the right order how things should happen. And that's the difference between a UL and an OL. As you can see, if I click refresh, now I've got a list, but it's in a specific order, like that. And there is one more sort of list we could look at. We don't use these very much, but I should make you aware of it. It's called a definition list, and how that works, it's much the same. We open it up with a angle bracket, we press D for DL, definition list, like that, and then we close it. Then we open up that bracket and we close it again, same as we did with the other 2 sorts of lists. We open it up like this. Now the first thing we want is something called a definition term. So if I open that up and I type in DT like that, that's what I'm after. For example, the definition term, that's what it stands for. Let's say, for example, we want to talk about music, and let's say start with categories like, for example, jazz music. That's the actual term we want to look at. So let's close that like that. Let's press return. Now we will put something called a DD, or a definition. Doesn't that sound cute? So if I press D to go to a DD like that, close that, and here's where we put our definition. I'll say music where the player forgets which song he is playing. They, I should say, are playing, like that. And that's the definition of jazz music. Perhaps that's not right, but it'll do for me. I'm going to close that definition now, like that. And I'm going to, again, /. Now I do the same thing again, but I'm just going to do it the cheats way. I'm going to just copy all that, Command C, and paste it in again, like this. Return Apple V. This time we might have country music, like this. Let's get rid of that music. And this might be, the definition might be music about sheds, trucks, and X's. Okay, so that's the definition and that's the term. Let's have a look what that looks like when we refresh it. You see how it gives the term over here, then it gives the definition. Now, these can come in very handy if you're doing lots and lots of categories things. But generally, we mainly use this thing here, the unordered list is the one we'll be using most of the time. Every now and again, we might use a ordered list, or we might use a definition list. But the one we really need to get our heads around is this unordered list. Now, as you can see, there's absolutely no styling, and we will spend a lot of time in upcoming videos learning how to style these lists. Okay, and again, lists are simply great ways of organizing your HTML. And lists can contain anything from text, images, links, all sorts of things can be lists. Okay, but more of that later. Okay, thanks for watching.